So one thing about Trump, he doesn't care who he talks to. If he thinks there's a deal at hand, he's going to talk. And I think that's what every president should do, regardless of political party. So I think that Trump, wanted to see if there was a possibility to come to some sort of deal. That's why he softened up Zelensky in that very well pre-planned humiliation in the Oval Office a couple of months earlier.
You think that was pre-planned?
Oh, absolutely, yes. 100% yes.
Do you think Zelensky knew it was pre-planned?
Absolutely not.
He walked into an ambush.
And it was because Trump believed that it was Zelensky blocking a deal, and then learned in Anchorage that it actually wasn't Zelensky. It's Putin blocking the deal. But at least we know that now. It's important to know that. So it was worth talking.
That's fair. And I totally agree with you about being able to sit down and talk with anybody about anything. I wish people in our own country would actually take that advice. I am so tired of watching people.
Amen.
I can't talk to my family anymore. I can't go to holidays and this, that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is your family and you're letting a political belief. And the metric I go back to, and I try to remind people, like, let's say shit does hit the fan. Let's say that there's this unholy alliance of Russia and China and North Korea and whatever. They do whatever. And your power goes out for 96 hours, which, and I always forget who the quote's associated with, but essentially, chaos is 9 meals away. And you're going to need the guy across the street to help you. You're going to need your neighbors to rely upon, and they might have had an election sign that was of a different color than you may like, but they're still your neighbor. And if we can't get, and it's the same level, just extrapolated to a geopolitical level. Like, you need to be able to talk to everybody. Right. I talk with a bunch of people that I don't agree with on a bunch of things. And at the end of the day, I leave hopefully with a better understanding of why they believe what they believe. It doesn't mean I have to get on board, but at least I understand where they're coming from.
I couldn't agree more. I think you're exactly right.
What do you think would be worst case if Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un, would it be they create an alliance and economy that rivals what is, as you mentioned, largely led by the U.S. at this point, and that grows to a size, scope, and scale that competes with and then overtakes, and then we find ourselves behind?
I think that is one step below the worst case scenario. I think they're already doing that. So we should expect to see that develop in the coming years. But the worst case scenario is that they come up with a unified currency, and that countries around the world begin to use that currency instead of the dollar, especially with regard to oil sales. The U.S. empire ends the day that happens.
Yeah, I had not even considered that. Okay. How do you think the Ukraine-Russia conflict plays itself out? It's fascinating. They'll talk about having a ceasefire, and then about 5 minutes afterwards, a missile or a drone strike occurs. And like, why are we even doing this anymore at this point? Just keep blowing the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been saying the same thing for a long time, and I've been proven wrong so far, but I'm going to double down. And I'm going to say that the way this ends is the way we've been saying it was going to end since it began. And that is with the Ukrainians conceding territory, the Donbass, Crimea, as well as extracting a promise that Ukraine will never join NATO, but then allowing or not objecting to Ukraine being fast-tracked for European Union membership, and then a declaration from the United States that Ukraine will be treated as what's called a major non-NATO ally, like Japan, Australia, Saudi Arabia, Israel. So you essentially get the same protections that a NATO membership would give you, but you're not in NATO.
What do you think? Who do you think is next in the wing after Putin moves along?
I don't think anybody knows the answer to that. The Russians had Dmitry Medvedev for, 4 years, 6 years? And he and Putin just they traded offices for one term, and then they traded him back again. So I don't think there's any one person waiting in the wings. I've never heard that he has a protege, for example, that he's grooming.